Okay, so this is a quick demo of the JDBC configuration from Notes Documents, which is something I have just added to my fork of the ExtLibX project, and you can test it out by downloading this release. I'm just calling it alpha version. I want to see if anyone else gives it a go and lets me know if it helps them or not. So you just want to install this site.zip, which is the update site, into Domino Designer and your server. And then in this demonstration, we're going to show how we want to show some JDBC information on this page from this database. And you can see it's not working right now. This is the page which we want to show. It says give us the contents of the customer table from a connection which we will call the customer database. Now usually that connection information would come from XML in the webinf folder, but we're going to load that connection information from Notes Documents. So let's have a look at how that would work. So the way this system works is it expects to find a view called JDBC Connections, and that's the full name there, but it wants the alias, just that last bit. And it expects to find the connection information in a document that has these fields. And this is our connection information. So why isn't it working? Because we haven't enabled the local database, the document-based configuration. So in the demo, I've got two databases, XLib and XLibPR2, and we'll show loading the config from the same database as the application, and then we'll also show how we can load from another database. So this PR2 doesn't have anything about customer database in it, and we're going to show how we can point back to the this first one. So back into our design, I've also got a page here. Sorry, it's just reset provider. It's just a button that will reset the configuration for us. So this is the XSP properties for the first database, and we will have the three libraries selected. We've got the main extension library, we've got extension library X, and we have the relational library enabled. And then in order to tell it we want to load the local configuration, we need this XSP property set to true. So we're saying we do want local configuration. I'll save that now, and it's possibly will need a reset, but let's find out. But hopefully it will now be able to load that configuration, and it does. So if we have a look at the console, I've got the logger turned on so that we can see that it's loading that connection. It couldn't find it, but then it could find it 3 minutes later when we turned it on, and it's loaded that configuration. But now if we go to the second database, it should still not work. So what we'll do there is go to its XPages properties, and although it had the local configuration, we actually want it to look in a different database. So we're going to say we want the global configuration and its file path to be the original database that we did, xlibpr.nsf. And if we go back and we'll have a look, so this is the original one. It's got the customer database configuration, and in this one we don't have it, but it should still look back to that because we put that file path in. If we open this one up, it works now as well. So if I go back to that view that I showed you, I just want to point out one other thing. So here we had this word server default. So this server doesn't mean the SQL server, it means the Domino server. So anything with a blank server is just the default settings. But if you had a particular office or location or server that connected to a different SQL. Imagine you might have a customer database in the US and maybe you've got one in Australia. So if you had an Australian server, let's say it's Sydney server 1, we'll still call that customer database, but it might have a different URL and maybe even different username and password. I'll just take those defaults that I have in there out. And so now when an XPages application is running on Sydney 01, it will use this information and all other servers will use the other. So that's another way you can have location-based JDBC configuration. And I think that's about all I've got to demonstrate at the moment. What I might want to do in the future is add the connection pooling parameters to this page. But I would like to hear if anyone else has any suggestions or problems they might see with this, or anything that could improve this, or just let me know if you've tried it and it did work, or if you tried it and you didn't work and you gave up, or anything. Give me some feedback and I will get it into ship shape so that I can move it from CamMac to the official, put a pull request in for the official library, and then maybe it'll be a robust solution that other people can use. Because we've been using it at my work, and it's a much nicer way to configure, considering that you often have different settings in development as you do in production and things like that. So hit me back on my blog, which is CameronGregor.com, or on Twitter, which is @Gregorbyte, and let me know what you think. Thank you for your time.